Welcome back to TWN Academy. I'm your registered dietitian Lisa Hayim, and today we are breaking down unsaturated fatty acids and those popular omegas. So there isn't an Instagrammer or advertiser out there that is not ripping up the word healthy fat right now. People are throwing it around whenever they are using any type of fat. And after decades of creating a fat-phobic nation, the people are confused whether they should or shouldn't be eating fat, and if they can actually bring some delicious fat back into their diet, the question remains, which kind? So the most important thing I really want you guys to embrace is that the body needs fat from food. Aside from being a major source of energy, we actually need fat to absorb certain vitamins and minerals, protect the exterior of our cells, and nourish the brain. But it's a crazy complicated topic that I'm going to try my best to simplify here today. So the easiest way to break down this topic is to separate the fats into two sections, saturated fats and unsaturated fats. In this video, we will only be talking about unsaturated fats. I won't get into saturated fats here other than mentioning that these are the fats that come from animal sources, plus coconut and coconut oil. I've linked a helpful chart below that you're going to want to reference as we dive deeper into this complicated topic. Okay, so unsaturated fats come mostly from plant sources, while saturated fats come mostly from animal sources. Within unsaturated fats, we then have two important types, monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids, which I'll refer to as MUFAs or PUFAs. The key here is to not get so stuck on which type of food falls into which specific category, because in reality, real foods are a mix of all the different types of fats, saturated, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated. So take an avocado, for example. It's comprised mostly of monounsaturated fatty acids, but also has some polyunsaturated fatty acids and even a small amount of that saturated fat. Some other foods that are rich in monounsaturated fatty acids are going to be olives, olive oils, almonds, cashews, and peanuts. MUFAs are thought to lower the bad cholesterol, that's the LDL. But it's also worth mentioning that MUFAs can further be broken down into specific types of fatty acids. So refer to that chart again to see sort of how that gets broken down. Polyunsaturated fatty acids can also help to lower the LDL, and some good sources of these are flaxseed, walnuts, fatty fish like salmon, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, and pumpkin seeds. The polyunsaturated fatty acids are the ones that house those really important omega fatty acids. You're probably familiar or have heard of omega-3 and omega-6. Both omegas are essential, so this means that we can't make it on our own and we must get it through food or a supplement. Omega-3s are especially beneficial for reducing triglycerides in our blood, slowing down the buildup of plaque, combating inflammation, and protecting the brain from memory loss, depression, and even dementia. So then we have two forms of omega-3 that are most useful. Those are called DHA and EPA. And the best sources are going to be found in those oily fish like anchovies, salmon, sardines, and even halibut and tuna. There are some vegetarian sources of omega-3s, but they're going to be in the form of what's called ALA, not EPA or DHA. And we're going to have to convert the ALA to EPA or DHA. And that conversion is not very efficient, and the rate is about 5%. Nonetheless, some vegetarian sources of omega-3s are flaxseed, chia seeds, edamame, walnuts, beans, and even Brussels sprouts, kale, and spinach. Okay, moving on to those omega-6 fatty acids. These play an important role in helping the brain to function, assisting in metabolic processes, and even play a role in reproduction. The main acid inside omega-6s are called linoleic acid, or LA. LA can be converted into something called arachidonic acid, or AA. So right here, this is where we have been oversimplifying it. We thought that because arachidonic acid causes low-grade inflammation in the body, we should decrease all of our omega-6s. But in reality, you're going to want to refer to the chart here. Linoleic acid can actually be converted into an anti-inflammatory prostaglandin as well, not just an inflammation promoter. So it can fight inflammation or it can promote inflammation. The problem here is that LA competes with ALA. That's the acid that's high in plant sources of omega-3s for a specific enzyme needed for both of their conversions. So again, we need to convert that ALA to EPA and DHA in order to reap the benefits. But LA and ALA are competing for a same enzyme to get to their next step. So either LA is being converted to AA or an inflammation fighter, or ALA is being converted to EPA and DHA. So the idea was that we've been sort of promoting here is that if we eat too much linoleic acid found in omega-6 sources, our ability to convert ALA to the good stuff, EPA and DHA, will be lower and promote a more inflammatory environment in the body. But again, this was oversimplified, as we now know and understand that omega-6s cannot just cause inflammation, they can actually play a big role in fighting it too. To keep that pathway open so ALA can convert to EPA and DHA, we should monitor our sources and intake of omega-6s, which happen to be overabundant in the American diet because we consume so much cheap refined plant oils and processed food. This is very, very different though than consuming omega-6 sources that come from real food, that haven't been refined or stripped of their nutrients and good stuff. So some good sources could be Brazil nuts and walnuts, right? These bring in tremendous nutritional value. So remember, this really isn't as simple and straightforward. Take the avocado again, for example, right? This really healthy food. It's super rich in monounsaturated fatty acids, but also contains linoleic acid from omega-6s. But despite what we thought about linoleic acid, the research actually shows that eating avocados decreases inflammation in the body and can even go further to lower LDL. That's the bad cholesterol again, right? So as you can see, this isn't as necessarily as black and white as omega-3s are good, omega-6s are bad, or that MUFAs are good and PUFAs are bad. It's really about getting quality real food sources of omega-3s and omega-6s in consistently and being mindful of our food choices that are processed or contain refined vegetable oil. You simply cannot go wrong when eating real food mindfully. If you like this video, please consider subscribing by hitting that little red button below, and I'll see you in the next episode of TWN TV.